This is the Portkeys PT5 V3. It comes in a very nice travel case. This is something on my other camera monitors I do not have, which is very nice. And there is enough room. It squeezes on this foam, but there is enough room to take everything you need with you in the case, including the cables and the camera mount, as well as the sun visor or the hood. Putting this aside here for a second, the one thing it does not come with is an NPF battery. So I have one here separately that we will use with the camera monitor. Initial impressions in looking at the design, it is mostly plastic. I like it. It has a manual on and off button. There is a lock so you don't inadvertently touch something on the screen that will show while you're live, if you're doing live streaming. This, I do like this, but I don't like that some of the menus do show up when you click them. There's a USB 3.0 port. I'm not sure why it's USB 3.0. It only provides power. It will not go directly into a computer. USB 2.0, which is only for firmware upgrades or LUTs upgrades. HDMI out, HDMI in, and two quarter inch mounts, as well as a microphone in if you want a microphone running into this, and a headphone out. So let's go ahead and power this up. Actually, before we do that, this sun visor is one of the better designs I've seen. Highly usable and very sturdy. There are these plastic clips that will clip on the side, but before you do that, you can attach the sun visor to it, fold it out, flip your screen around, and then these snap into place. Like that. And it is very sturdy and works well. This is the best designed sun visor I've had on a monitor that I've used that's had one. It is needed. It's 800 nits, so if you're using it outside, the sun visor is a good thing to have on there. But let's go ahead and power this up. Put the NPF battery on there. It doesn't really click into place, but it does hold firmly. We'll go ahead and flip the switch there to power it on, and then I'm going to hook it up to my Canon R50 over here, which I just have on, kind of pointing off into the distance. We have an HDMI in. We'll go ahead and plug that in, and we get an image. About just a hair. We get an image on here. Now, the nice thing about this with the image, I'm going to run this HDMI out into a capture card into my computer here. And when I do that, the camera's sliding around here. When I do that, I am going to start recording on the capture card. When I run it in, you can use this menu at the bottom here. Has backlight, contrast, sharpness, chroma, color grader. We can go to more settings here. I can click on those. It's not letting me click on those actually. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the live UI locked, so it won't let me click on anything. Once I unlock that, I can hit settings and I can adjust, do a display flip if I need to, if it's flipped upside down, vertical flip, horizontal flip. I can adjust the mic volume, the headphone volume, do an image reset or system reset. Now, what I don't like, and you will see here on the screen, if I double click at the bottom, or if I click towards the bottom, it brings up a larger menu. And this is the menu that you'll need to use for a number of things, right? Like if you have these hot functions where you can turn on grids. Now I can turn on the grid here, but you will not see the grid. If I close this menu, you will not see the grid on the actual display itself or on what's being captured. However, you do see the menu. So you can turn on false color, zebra, peaking, different things. You will not see those on the HDMI out, but you see the menu on the HDMI out, and I don't know why they do that. There's no way that I've seen to be able to disable that, and that's a big disadvantage in my opinion. There are a number of configurations that you have access to. If you go into functions here, zebra, false color, RGB waveform, audio meters, luma histogram, rectangle crop, image capture, image overlay, HDR, check field, and then out here we have well, the grids, which I have on. I can turn those off, or I can turn them on and increase the number of grids, or I can turn it back up to 2, so when I actually come to use it, it's on what I want it to be. If I turn the grids off and go back, there are guides. I can turn on a center guide, and then we also have crosshairs, and you can move the you can offset the crosshairs if you want to. So, and you can even change the color. You can make the crosshair red, green, blue. So very full featured menu. They have these quick function buttons that you can set. So if I want, instead of peaking here, if I want the crosshair on function number 1, I can set that, and then from here, this menu, I can turn it quickly. I can turn it quickly on and off. But again, the biggest disappointment that I have here, while those grids and crosshairs hide, the menu does not, and that's a big disadvantage in my opinion. It really keeps it from being usable for me for live streaming purposes. So this cold shoe mount is very nice. We got rubber grips here on the part that locks down on the camera, as well as 2 little rubber pieces here that line up with the bottom of the monitor. So when you tighten it, you don't get any twisting. And this is configurable with respect to tension. I did need to tighten it a little bit from what was out of the box because it was a little bit too loose, but you can tighten that, and you can also tighten, so if it swivels, this can swivel left or right, you can tighten or loosen that as needed. Not a bad design. It does have a fan that is always on. You can increase or decrease the fan level. You probably didn't even hear it here while I had it on, because it is very quiet when it's on level 1, and then you can turn it up to level 5. So very good product offering. I think this is worth the price. I just there's some misses in the software. I like the menu design, but there's some misses there, and I really think they could have made this USB 3.0 port functional.
Hi there, my name is Rich Sermonello. I'm a professional photographer and Amazon influencer, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Portkeys 5-inch monitor, the PL5. When you open up the box, you'll notice that it comes in a hard case, which seems kind of cool until you try to repack it. It's actually very difficult to repack. But what the monitor comes with, it's not the battery. All right, it comes with the flat screen. It comes with this hot shoe, cold shoe with a 1/4-inch thread at the bottom mount, so that you can put it on a light stand or put it on top of your camera in the hot shoe. And it detaches. It can be screwed onto the bottom, or it can be screwed onto the right side, so you can mount it vertically or stick it on the side, however you want to mount that. So I'm going to put that back in. It does come with a USB memory card, which I have stuck here in the bottom. There's a USB port at the bottom. Very tight, super tight. All right, and then it comes with this hood, which is actually 3 pieces. So the hood itself is 1 piece and it folds, but you have to put on 2 side brackets in order to attach the hood. And to be quite honest, putting the hood on was kind of a pain in the butt. It was a lot harder than I expected it to be. And now that I've gotten it on, I don't want to take it off. But eventually I'll have to take it back off to put it in the box. The controls are pretty simple. There's a lot of on-screen controls when the unit is powered on. Right now it's not on. And there's only 3 buttons on the top. one of the tricky bits was I had a really hard time installing the battery in the back, okay? And it takes a standard battery. It's not included, but it comes with NPF batteries. It doesn't come with NPF batteries. It takes NPF batteries, or one NPF battery. So I had a really hard time getting a battery in here. I'm thinking, man, this thing is not right. It doesn't fit. Well, got to read the manual. You actually have to unlock the battery with your finger here while you put the battery in, and it goes in nice and easy. If you try to do that while it's still locked, it's going to not work. So that's a lesson learned there. Okay, so I've attached the battery. Remember, battery's not included, so you need to bring your own. And then you've got a lock switch to lock the on-screen controls so you don't accidentally touch them, and then you've got a power switch. So we'll put the power switch on, little green light goes on, monitor should come on in a second. Maybe I have it locked. Nope, it's not locked. Yeah, well, oh yeah, it's coming on. Just takes a second. Okay, so there it is. Great. All right, now, the kit also comes with full-size HDMI to HDMI. Unfortunately, this does not work with my Canon camera. I need to have a mini HDMI to HDMI, so this cable is not usable for at least my Canon camera. And it comes with two USB cables. One is C to C and one is C to A. Now, these are for video capture because not only is this a monitor, but it's also a video capture card. What that means is I can use this to capture video and send it into my computer via USB, which is pretty nice. Double check the manual, but the input is, I think, 4K on the HDMI, but the output is only 1080p. I think that's, if I understand that correctly, so just be aware that you're not going to output 4K. And on the sides, you've got the USB, which works also as a power port, but also as the capture port. So you connect this to your computer. Here's an HDMI out. And if you want to go to a larger screen or something, and then here's the HDMI in. So I have my Canon DSLR set up here. I'll put this on the top and I'll leave it facing the video here. Now, as I said, the HDMI cable that my camera takes is a mini HDMI, so I was not able to use the included cable. So this is a cable that I had on my own, this blue cable here. So we're going to attach that. And then I will turn on the live view. And after a moment or two, it should come up on the screen. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but it's there, I promise you. All right, now, if I want to use the capture feature, I can go from the USB-C port into the USB-A on my laptop. I've got an older laptop here too. So I go out to here and then I throw it in this USB port. And I'm using an application on my desktop called Ecamm Live, and Ecamm Live is like a little streaming studio. So right away it picked up because I had it attached a moment ago, so right away it picked up this that you're seeing here is coming directly from the camera. So everything works. It's pretty nice the way it works. I think the 5-inch screen is a good size. There are controls on the screen, so you can have a little sharpness indicator. You can change some of the coloration on there. And it works pretty well. So overall, I think it's a really good piece of equipment. Now, when you try to pack it back in the box, that's going to be a bit of a trick because it's really tight in here. And I think since the HDMI cable doesn't work with my Canon camera anyway, I'm probably going to not repack that. And if I'm using my old laptop, it's a USB-A, so I don't need this C to C port either. So that'll save a little bit of space in the box. But it's good that it actually comes with a hard case, and that should keep it pretty safe. So if you're in the market for a little 5-inch screen, I think this is a pretty good deal. Remember that the battery is not included. Remember that you need to have the right HDMI cable for your equipment. And also remember that the HDMI output is not going to be as high resolution as the input. Beyond that, I think you've got a pretty solid piece of equipment here, and I recommend it. Hope this helps.
Prova, prova.